I'm Gregory Harden II. This is the Green Corn Rebellion Show. Today, I'm here with one of my best friends, Anahi Olivas. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. You say my name funny.
Well, I wasn't sure how to pronounce it because you never told me how to pronounce your last name. So I was like,
It's
I'm
the
just gonna
first
wing it.
thing up.
Okay. Well,
Me, like Anna and then E.
okay. Well, she said her name. You guys know what her name is. Um, Let me get into the first question here. So, where are you from and where'd you grow up at?
I was born in Los Angeles and raised within the entire California. That's how I see it.
Okay, that's cool. What are some of your plans for the future?
I want to be a nurse. I was thinking about joining the Army Reserve. Um, but I don't know. That plans might change.
All right. And what is your political ideology?
Libertarian socialist is probably the best, and I guess I do advocate for like social democratic policies because I feel like those are the best to implement as of right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like the world actually, to just move leftward after that. I think that's like, yeah, that's how I would see it. Like, I don't think we could be in like an anarchist society right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's how I see that.
All right. Um, so how did you become a libertarian socialist?
You know what? I was like thinking about that question and I still can't like figure out exactly what. I think it's just like the more educated you get on things like reading, like actual reading, like not like looking at YouTube or whatever. I feel like if you have the knowledge about like history and like what's going on around the world, I think you would be at least somewhere in the left field. I just like landed way out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I say.
All right. Well, um, so tell me more about your leftward shift or how you what is it? How do I phrase this? How you came to the left and how you became to be politically aware and involved. What
I think
exactly? Yeah,
oh,
go ahead.
oh, like well, and there's like certain things that happened. Like it's not just like one thing, but I think like where it first started was like the election of Donald Trump. Because like at least like right there, I know I was in the center. I know I was in the center. Like well, not center, but like center right, like neolibs.
Hmm.
Did you hear the dog?
Yeah, it's okay though. I can still hear you.
Okay, okay, that's fine. Um, sorry, it's just so funny because every time I want to talk, it's just barking. Okay, what was the question again? I forgot.
Question was, how did you become? What was a part of your journey to becoming politically
Oh,
aware and involved and active?
oh, that's different. But yeah, well, what got me politically active was Bernie. Like
Hmm.
actually politically active, like like canvassing, like community stuff like that. Like
Hmm.
that was Bernie. Um, but like my left, I thought it was leftward shift, right?
Yeah, yeah, that
My
too.
leftward shift, it started with the election of Donald Trump, and then I just like I was like for this in like a centrist for like quite a time, like until like 2017, and then I found like David Pakman, Kyle Kalinske, Mike Figueroa, David Dole. That's how you say his name, right?
Yeah,
David Dole. He's cool
we got
too.
we got someone's name right on here. But yeah, that's cool. I remember for me, I was always like when I was younger, I was always politically aware and kind of I would say followed politics, but like I knew what was going on, like even from like a young age, like when I was like 4 or 5 years old. Like I
Yeah,
remember,
too.
yeah,
Like
like I remember,
like active or like didn't have an
well,
ideology. I just know like things were going on.
yeah, and like let's see here. I think I really, really started getting more passionate about politics when I was in high school. Even though I always cared about it, you know. Like I remember being really excited about Obama and uh, wanting Bush to be impeached in like 2007 and being mad that they didn't impeach him. Even though I was like 9 years old, I was like, no, like that dude started a war and like lied us into it. And then there's the Patriot Act and there's all this other stuff. Like that dude needs to go.
Mine?
Oh, yeah,
That's crazy.
and um and then what was it? And then I remember watching some of my favorite people to watch back then as far as politics goes, like when I was like in high school, middle school, like David Pakman, because he would come on Free Speech TV, and I would watch a lot of TV back then, and I watched Tom Hartman and Democracy Now and stuff like that. And then when I went to college, that's when I started getting on YouTube because I grew up with dial-up. I don't know if you know what dial-up is, but it's like really, really slow internet. It's really slow internet through the phones, and like it's not really great for loading YouTube videos or anything. So when I got to college, I was able to have internet more, and I started getting my news from people like Majority Report and eventually the Michael Brooks Show. And I remember finding Kyle Kalinske like my first semester of college, and I thought it was so funny seeing him for the first time. I was like, oh, look at this little angry little white boy talking about left wing politics. Like, I like him. He's cool. And I remember, what was it? Mike from Humanist Report. I remember seeing his videos, and I remember watching David Dole's videos too a little bit. Rational National. So yeah, so that's what happened with me over the last, I guess that's about almost 10 years or so. But uh what how did you find David Pakman? Tell me about that.
I'm still on that. Like at 9 years old, 9 years old, I was like playing kickball and pulling like girls' hair, putting like gum in the boy I like's hair. And you were over there like, why did they impeach Josh?
Yeah, yes, like I was seriously like, because I remember when I was like 5, 6 years old, that's when they went to the Iraq War. That's when they went not into Iraq. And I remember we used to watch CNN back
Your-
then, and it
Was
was
your
the
family
sit, huh?
was your family in the war? Or-
No, I don't think so. I think I might have had a cousin that went over there, but I'm not sure exactly. But
'Cause I would
I
I still kind of don't understand. Like if it was like your family member that went off, like I understand like a 9 year old being mad about that, but a 9 year old, wow, that's amazing. If you don't
but
become governor or something, I'm gonna be suing.
Oh, but no, like I remember watching CNN when I was like 5, 6 years old, whenever they went to Iraq. And on the Situation Room with Wolf Blitzer, they would show like the death total of how many troops died in
Oh,
Iraq.
that makes
And,
sense. That
like
makes sense.
and they stopped doing that after it hit like 4,000, and then they stopped showing it because I guess by then it was like, it was just like oof. And but I remember seeing that, and that like really fucked me up at a young age. I was like, wow, we're literally just sending people over there to like die, and not just our own people, but like we're also killing other people in the process of this. And then I
See,
remember,
that's what. See, like, I'm not. I don't call myself anti-war. I call myself anti-imperialist
Imperialists, yeah.
because I don't like people who say like, "Oh, the American lives." It's like, no, you're killing other people too. They're still humans,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
So
And
that's
then
just, so that's like kind. Oh, can I like kind
go
of
ahead.
switch up? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, that's kind of like why I don't like Tulsi's framing on war because it's like she's always emphasizing American. I understand because like her like base is kind of like right wingers, you know, like and that's what they are, you know. But like I don't like that framing. It's like you're becoming popular and like once you're getting popular, I feel like you should be like arguing it from the left wing point of view, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like that's a like right wing kind of view on war. Like it's American lives. It's American. Like it's not just about nationalism. You should be caring about human life in general. I mean, they're pro-life, right? Shouldn't they be pro-life when it comes to like war, when it comes to like brown people dying? I still think that's pro-life. That's why I
Yeah.
consider myself pro-life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I remember that, and then there was the '04 election. The '04 election was the election that I remember, like, paying, I would say, kind of close attention to.
Oh,
Like, I was 6. Yeah, I was 6. So, like, I remember, because I remember, what was it? This is like a cursed thing at this point, but like my parents, they voted for John Edwards in the primary. I remember going with my mom to the polling station to vote for John Edwards, and then he ended up losing the primary. He ended up being John Kerry's VP. But I remember that, and that was like the first presidential election I remember. I remember being disappointed at the result and all that stuff. And then I remember '08, and yeah, like I've I always cared, but I wasn't as involved or invested in it until high school or so, like my junior year. So yeah. Um but no, what was it? I asked a question, now I forgot it. Oh yeah, how did you find David Pakman? How did you come across David Pakman?
he was just recommended under a Ben Shapiro video. He was just like recommended like right under it. And I was like, okay, I'll watch it. And then I liked what he said. Well, not liked what he said, but like I understood what he was saying. You know, it made sense to me. And
Hmm.
that's I feel like I have like more of a sense of like media in all spectrum, like all across the spectrum. Like I feel that the left wing media, like actual left wing media, is more honest and shows more of a full picture than if you're like a liberal or a conservative or far right winger, you know? Like
Hmm.
that's just like my point of view because like I've had all types of media and left wing is the only one that shows like both sides and has like a coherent conclusion. Is what
Hmm.
like so that's why I guess that's why I stayed as a left winger longer than any of the other types of
Yeah.
positions, I guess. Yeah.
Ideologies, or yeah, position, I guess. Yeah. Um yeah, like that's the way I saw it when I was growing up, where like sure, I knew that there was a bias, but I also knew that I was going to get the truth from someone like Pac-Man or Tom Hartman, or then eventually Sam Cedar with the Majority Report. Like I always knew that I was going to at least get the truth, and then what they thought about it, as opposed to like, we're going to leave out some facts and basically come to, a really fucked up conclusion about this entire situation. And like, that's what I always liked about uh, left wing media as well. Um, so yeah. Um, So, what are your thoughts on impeachment of Trump?
He should be. I think he should have been impeached, but I feel that we're so close to the election. I don't know if I want to be bothered with that.
Hmm.
So I just hope she just keeps the articles to herself. Just like let that slide on the like across the television. Trump impeached. Just let it slide. And just yeah, that's where I think it should end. We should just let the election like let us choose like if we keep him or if he leaves.
Hmm. Um, I'm not sure because I know that it's not like if it goes to the Senate, he's going to end up getting removed because it's Republican controlled Senate. So what was the we'd need damn near 20 of them, 20 of the Republicans almost to decide they want to remove him, and that's not going to happen. You probably won't even get one Republican. Uh, but if they do put it through the Senate and decide to take a vote on it, it, the Republicans that are up for election in 2020, that are in like purple states or kind of bluish states, it would put pressure on them and it could cost them to lose their seats because if they're seen as being in support of Trump when Trump is clearly guilty of whatever it is in the impeachment papers, and then is also in
Obstruction of justice, I think,
yeah,
right? Or abuse of
mm,
power and obstruction of Congress.
yes, and I think that could be of some use is possibly in that kind of a way if we let them vote on it and they are seen as being in support of Trump by voting against removing him. So there's that. That's something that I think would be beneficial. But outside of that, I mean, you know, that's um, that's pretty much all I have to say about it. I wish they'd impeached him on more things, like war crimes or emoluments, and yeah, because there's a lot more to impeach him over. Uh, so yeah, that's what I think about that. Do you have any more to say about that?
No, not really. Like, I don't know, like, I support the impeachment. I just think this is like a really bad time to do it. You know?
Hmm.
If anything, they should have waited until after the election just in case he like won or something. If that makes sense.
It makes
Like,
sense. Yeah.
because if like even if he lost, they could like bring charges against him, like actual like criminal charges, because he
Hmm.
had done so many crimes, and
Yeah.
especially natural crimes.
Hmm.
So that's just my opinion.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think of Bernie's campaign and the primary? Yeah, in general.
Looks like he's winning, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's going pretty good. um, what I think about like the campaign, how it's running, or
His campaign, other candidates' campaigns, the campaign in general, anything and everything.
I think he should be more aggressive. I feel like he's not going after candidates enough. I could think it's because he has like the media portrays him as someone like that he took the election away from Hillary. Like if he
Hmm.
had to do with it. So I feel like that's why he feels like too scared to go after the candidate, even if they're wrong.
Hmm.
He's only after Joe Biden, nobody else. So I think he's like he's not putting enough effort into like really digging into other people's policies and criticizing them, and at least in my view.
Hmm.
Um, they should put money into like TV ads because like have you seen the Bloomberg and the
Yes.
Sire? They're so good. Like they're trash people, but their ads are really good. I feel like
Hmm.
Bernie should.
Yeah, and radio ads. I think you should do some radio ads as
Yeah,
well.
you said that in a rehearsal. At the
Yeah.
rehearsal, I was so nervous. I'm still nervous, but like not that much. I'm not shaking like last time.
um Yeah. Were you paying any attention to Bernie's campaign in 2016?
I didn't know who he was. If I did, I would have. But I didn't know who he was until like after. They kept talking about him like after Hillary lost. I was like, why didn't you guys bring him up before? I never heard of him. Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people didn't know who he was in 2016. You
Hmm.
know?
Yeah.
Then he just became a household name like after.
Hmm.
He could have won. Could have won.
Yeah. Um, I was paying real close attention in 2016, and back then it was pretty interesting because when he announced in like May of 2015, and like during that summer, he had like almost virtually no support. Like he was polling at like 2 or 3%, which is funny to even think about now because it's like it's just odd. And then slowly and slowly, like he
You know
started
what?
gaining,
I think
huh?
it's because I think everyone was just paying attention to Hillary. Like everyone. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like not to offend anybody, but I feel like she would have won anyway. Like even if it was fair, I feel like she would have won anyway because so many people were like obsessed with identity politics. Like they're like, oh, we had a black president. Like now let's have a woman president. Like I
Mm-hmm.
think a lot of people like had that mindset going into the primary. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like that's just my opinion. I feel like now people care more about like policies. Like Bernie supporters always cared about policy. But I'm just saying, like, a lot of people who weren't informed were like, it's a woman, she might do better than a man, you know? I feel like
Mm-hmm.
that's a lot of people's like thoughts
Mm-hmm.
going into it.
Yeah. Um, I remember the media didn't really take Bernie seriously at all for like the longest time until like he started winning primaries, and then they had to kind of take him seriously because I remember he would come on some of the Sunday shows occasionally, and that's like one of the only times you ever really heard from him in between like May and probably December, aside from like the debates. And the debates were pretty cool back then because it was the first two debates. The first debate, it was 5 people, and then the second debate, I think that was when it was just 3 people, and that was Hillary, Bernie, and Martin O'Malley, who no one remembers running. And then I think the rest of the debates, there might have been one other debate with Martin O'Malley, but I think most of the rest of the debates were just Bernie and Hillary. And that's when fireworks really went off those debates. And those were fun debates to watch. Like I remember sitting at home and popping popcorn, watching them with my mom. And but yeah, but like there it was back then, it was the media didn't take him seriously. I remember people coined the term Bernie blackout because they would never really even talk about him at all or mention him or anything. And then
Like pulling at like 20%, and then we like, they still didn't care.
yeah, because by the end of by what was it? By like February sometime, he was polling nationally neck and neck with Hillary by February. So like by then, but they didn't really mention it. But like if you actually looked into the polls, like they were polling neck and neck, and um, he ended up doing really well on Super Tuesday. Like I think he won most of the states on Super Tuesday that year, including Oklahoma, which that was the first time I got to vote. So I was pretty proud of that. And yeah, so compare, and then there, and by then there was the Bernie Bro narrative had already began, and some of those weird tropes that we still hear today about Bernie supporters, those started to start during that time. And yeah, I feel like back then it was kind of eh. I don't know if I would say it was easier, but it was just different because no one really knew who he was, and no one took him seriously until, oh look, he almost won Iowa, then he crushed New Hampshire, and then yeah. But that's how I feel about it. I feel like the campaign's being run really well. How do you feel about the debate so far?
There's too many people on the stage. I don't like that. Like at all. Like I saw like the debates with like Bernie and Hillary and like he was killing it, you know? And I
Yeah.
was like I feel like if it's like three people, he would be doing the same thing today, you know? So how many people got into the one on Tuesday?
I'm not sure. I think it's like 6 or 7, maybe something like that. I think it's about 6 or 7.
Down to like 4.
Yeah, it needs to be down to like 3 or 4 people by now. Because I'm like, I just want to see, what is it? I want to see Bernie, Biden, Warren, and Buttigieg. Because those are the only like 4 really like viable candidates at this point. Like, I just want to see a debate between those 4 people. Huh?
I think it's 3. I think it's Buttigieg, Warren, and Bernie. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
You don't
think
think
Biden.
Biden?
I don't take
Okay.
him seriously. I mean, the man has like many issues that he needs to like take care of.
He needs to retire. Like, literally.
But like he needs to like see a doctor. See a doctor. He can afford it. We can't. He should
Yes.
take advantage of that. See a
Yeah.
doctor.
But he's still polling really high, like in a lot
Do
of
you think
the.
it's true? Because
Huh?
I think it's just like I think it's like lazy voters, right? I feel like it's just lazy. Like you hear Biden, you know who he is. You know,
Mm-hmm.
well, I'll vote for him. You know,
Yeah.
like I think that's what it is. Bernie, I think I think he does have an excited base,
Mm-hmm.
and then he does have some of that lazy vote too. You know, like oh, I know who that is. You know,
Yeah.
I think he does have that. But I feel like Biden just relies on the lazy vote, or like the people like who just want to continue that Obama legacy, like who are still clinging on to like that like old guard.
Yeah. Because and also people have this belief that Biden is the quote unquote safe candidate as opposed to anyone else.
Like
Yeah.
if you're losing Iowa in a primary, how are you gonna win it in a like general
Well,
election?
well, there's still, well, yeah, the general, yeah, he probably, I think Joe Biden's probably not going to do very well in the general, like a lot of people say he is. Like, sure, he might have, you know, support from black people, but that's mostly older black people and not so much younger black people, which I don't know if you guys know this, but a lot of older black people and older people in general, like the boomers, they're dying off. So you're going to need younger people to support
Is that
you
a threat?
eventually. Is
Is
that a
that a
threat?
threat?
I don't think
That's
that's. Hey, I said they were dying off, not that people were killing them off.
it sounds like a threat.
But no, but I just don't like, I get what people say, like on paper Biden seems like the safe option. He
So
seems electable, but like when he opens up his mouth, he doesn't sound electable. So, yeah.
he's worse than Hillary. I'm gonna
He
be
is
honest.
way worse than Hillary. Oh my god. Like
Like
Hillary could have. Go ahead.
like she at least puts on a face, you know? Like she
Hmm.
puts herself presentable. But like Biden, it's like I think he genuinely has like dementia. Like I don't mean that as a joke. Like I mean
Yes,
that's
like
serious.
seriously. Yeah, like I feel like Hillary, she could have won 2016 if her campaign had been ran a lot better. Because, like, whoever was running her campaign was freaking morons, and they shouldn't be working in politics at all anymore. I know that a lot of those people ended up making their way over to Kamala's campaign, and look
They
where
die.
Kamala's at. Exactly. But no, like, but with Hillary, like there was like an ounce of hope that she could have actually won, and if her campaign had been ran differently, yeah, she could have. Like if she went to Wisconsin or Michigan or not made a surprise visit to Texas a couple of weeks before the election, thinking she could swing Texas. Maybe she might have won the election if she had made
Why
a couple of.
would you go to Texas? Like at least like now you can kind of see that,
Mhm.
but like back then, no.
Well, there were some polls that were showing that she was like maybe within the margin of error of winning Texas, possibly. Like there were some polls that said that she could have won South Carolina too, but like these were all hypothetical polls months out before the election, like 2 or 3 months before the election, right? I wouldn't have taken those polls that seriously. I would have been like, no, I'm gonna go where I know we need to go, which is, our quote unquote firewall, as we used to call it. Not so much of a firewall now, but
Do you think she do you think she could have like won Florida? 'Cause I don't see that.
maybe because that was a lot closer. Ohio, not so much though.
Because
Ohio was like
I
deep.
think,
Go ahead.
like in my opinion, like I don't know if even Bernie could win Florida.
I think
Oh,
Bernie could win Florida.
really? Because I feel like Florida, like it has a lot of Cubans, and
Hmm.
like my like at least in like my understanding is that Cubans are very conservative,
Oh yeah,
very conservative.
definitely. Yeah, but I think he could win Florida because um they're like Florida's kind of weird, I know, politically, but they voted what was it? In 2018 they voted for a ballot question that restored the rights of
Wait,
however
wait.
many thousand. Yeah,
Remember when you said you were mad about like the election of like of
2004.
no, oh wait, you were oh that yeah. Which one was the one with Al Gore? It was 2001, right?
That's 2000.
Oh,
I
2000.
was I don't even remember that one at all. I had to hear about that election secondhand. But yeah,
You
what
know
about
he
it?
won Florida, but they
Yes.
called it too early.
Hmm.
That was like I don't even think we talk about that enough. Like he should have been our president. Like that man like actually and we wouldn't have been in all these wars.
I feel like we might have started something, but I doubt we would have went to Iraq. That for sure. And also possibly maybe we would have actually done something to prevent 9/11 from happening because we were warned because Bush was warned several times by other world leaders that something was going to happen and he did nothing. But yeah, that whole thing where the Supreme Court basically crowned George Bush president of America for 8 years. That's probably like one of the worst historical events that ever happened, at least in modern American history. Because like Al Gore could have done something for the environment. Like we might not be as deep in the
Climate
you know,
change.
exactly. And um, there's just so much to just like think about from that election. Oh wow, just stop. You brought up something that I don't want to think about. But yeah,
We'll just hope if like Bernie, goes to the general. I don't let's hope it doesn't happen again.
I think Bernie would. I think Bernie will have an easier time winning swing states than most people give him credit for. Like I think he could win probably all the swing states, including
But
bringing in a couple
the
more.
way he does it, I think the way he campaigned, I don't think it's like maybe not necessarily like obviously those policies are popular, but I think in swing states, I think like people want to hear from the candidate. I feel that he when you see that he comes to like smaller towns, like he goes to places that like wouldn't be visited by other candidates, I feel like that gives them like hope or makes them excited that like somebody cares. Like it's not necessarily his policies, I think it's also his personality, even though I don't think we're a personality cult,
Hmm.
but I think it's just how he is. Like he's like a really good human being, and that's like rare to see in a politician.
Yeah, and he, but yeah, I think he could definitely win most if not all of the swing states, and he He's just great. But yeah,
Who's your second choice?
who's my in the primary? I would say Warren. It was I would have said Marianne Williamson, but she just dropped out. But I would say Warren's my second choice.
Marianne
And
Williamson again too.
yeah, um, but yeah, cause like with Warren, like I've known who Bernie was for years, like my most of my life, because I remember he used to come on Tom Hartman's show on Free Speech TV once a week for like 11 years until like 2017. Uh, so like I'd known who Bernie was for a long time and always been a fan, like ever since I was like a kid. And with Warren, I was a fan of hers when I was younger too. And because like for a while there, they were like the two most progressive people in politics. And then Bernie ran, and a lot of people wanted Warren to run in 2016 against Hillary, and she decided not to. And Bernie did too, yeah. And
Which
I
I'm
was,
actually happy about because
yep, too.
I
Yeah.
feel that Bernie was a movement. Warren's a candidate.
Yeah. Like they're the I mean like the only thing I could see out of Warren running against Trump in 2016 is Warren might have actually won,
I
which
think if
like
Hillary had chosen Warren as her VP, she might have won. She
yeah,
might.
yeah,
It would have been a closer
yeah.
margin.
Um but yeah, like Warren's definitely my second choice out of all the candidates in the race. And then the rest of the candidates, I really don't care for at all, really. Like, there's no use in ranking them at this point. but, um, but yeah. And then I used to like Tulsi because I remember she endorsed Bernie back in 2016. But since this election's been going on over the last year, she's basically proven herself not to be as progressive as advertised. So it's like, but but yeah, who would be your second choice?
That's still running.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be Tulsi.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just because like at least she's anti-war, and at
Mm-hmm.
least well, I don't know if she's anti-imperialist because she's never said that, but she says she's
No.
anti,
Mm-hmm.
which is good enough for me. I think yeah, like she cares about climate change. It's not like I think she could be a good president, you know? Like I
Mm-hmm.
think she could like do really well in a general maybe because I feel that like progressives are at least like warm to her. I don't think we're as warm to like Warren or Biden just because we vetted them enough that we know like that's not it.
Yeah.
That's at least like my opinion. I think Tulsi's good. I don't think she's like horrible. I just don't like that she gives into right wing framing. That's like my only critique of her. It's like you don't have to do that, you know? Like they already
Yeah.
like you. They already like you. You can start fighting for us now.
Yeah. Um, let's see here. So, what did you think about the UK election and the results from the UK?
That's disappointing. Like that's like my first like thought. Like it's just disappointing. Um, to give credit, their conservative party is way to the left. I think even to our Democratic Party.
On some things, yeah, like on healthcare for sure. Yeah,
Yes, that's my thoughts. So I don't think it's like the worst thing. Like that's just my opinion. I don't think it's the worst thing that could have happened. Though I think they could have done way better with Corbyn. Um, maybe in the coming years, like maybe Labor will win. I don't know, but they Jeremy's not going to be the leader anymore, right?
no, he's gonna eventually step down. They're having a leadership election currently. Um, I think it's like 5 or 6 different candidates. The one that's getting the support from most of the left in the race is Rebecca Long Bailey. She's a lot younger. I think she's a relatively newer MP. I think she was elected in 2015. But she seems pretty great. Um, some of the other candidates, more centrist type candidates, but one of them, I think he's willing to try to compromise with the left a lot, because he understands that you can't lose that left flank that you just gained over the last 5 years or so with Corbyn,
Yeah,
because
did so well, and I was like,
yeah,
I think did they have an election for Boris the first time he went in? No, right? She just stepped down, the lady.
she stepped down, and then they had a leadership election, and he won the leadership election, because how it works there is they don't vote for the individual, they vote for the party. So
Oh
therefore,
yes, yes.
yeah, so therefore the party gets 5 years in charge unless there's a snap election called, and so therefore, if the leader steps down as prime minister, thus stepping down as leader from the party, they have to have a leadership election, and then whoever wins that gets to become prime minister, which kind of seems very insanely undemocratic, because the conservative party is only like 100,000 members, and there's like millions of people. But yeah, that's how that works.
Yeah, because I thought, like, I heard that and I was like, why wouldn't they just have a general election if she's stepping down?
Hmm.
You know, like give the chance for the people to I think if that happened, I think Corbyn would have went in.
Yeah, possibly. When was this? This
Because I
was
feel
just
that
earlier this year. Yeah. Say
I feel
what?
people, a lot of people are just like comfortable with incumbents, no matter how bad they are. I feel like you have to have somebody that's like really, really good at connecting with people. I think Corbyn was like that, but in the end, it's like, did you do, did you like have the right positions on everything? Because I don't think he had the right position on Brexit.
Hmm.
So that's like, but we don't have that problem here, so I don't see like the same critique, of Labour Party to Bernie Sanders,
Hmm.
because it's a entirely different thing. Like you had to vote for Labour Party, you had to vote for everyone inside.
Yeah.
Um, Here it's like I can vote Bernie, but I can vote a Republican senator.
Yeah. Which
That's
is
like
so
the difference.
dumb to me, but yes, we allow that. But
I
because the
don't think
way, go ahead.
it's personally fine because it's like I don't like I don't like I don't like the idea like, oh, we have to like choose it as a party, even though that would be good like for passing legislation.
Hmm.
But I think it's like a bad idea in general because it's like, what if like we have a Republican president and then like the like Democratic Senate, at least like we can stop it.
Hmm.
Like the
Yeah.
legislation and his agenda there. Like we don't I think there's problem in both parties. Like well not parties. There's problems in both systems.
Systems.
But
Yeah.
I think generally ours is a bit better.
Mm,
Well, not the corruption. I'm just saying like
yeah,
the
I know, but like, I don't know. Like, I like their system a lot better because, like, I always think of Oklahoma, how I know of people who, or I remember hearing of people saying to me, they voted for Drew Edmondson, who was the Democrat, to be governor, but they voted for the Republican for state house. And I'm like, you do know that that Republican doesn't support anything that Drew Edmondson supports. Why would you send them both to the state legislature or the Capitol when you know that the big problem over the last 8 years here in Oklahoma is the Republican legislature and the Republican governor? Like, to me, it makes better sense to say, if we're going to elect people, they might as well at least vote, like, be allowed to vote for the same party, as opposed to one individual and then another individual that's diametrically opposed to that one individual, right? because like it just blows my mind how that is. And then if you think of it that way, like if we and also like the this is what I imagine if I were to redo our electoral system here in America, I'd get rid of the electoral college, I'd abolish the Senate, and I would like for the House to stay, but I want it to be run more like a parliamentary system. So therefore, whoever gets the most seats, whoever's the leader of the party, which I guess in this instance it would be Nancy Pelosi, which isn't really great, but you know, at least hypothetically speaking, we would have been able to get rid of Republican control in 2018 if we had had it that way. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I kind of don't understand the point of senators. Like they're like I think it's fine, like checks and balances, whatever. But I feel that you only really need Congress.
Hmm. Because like the
Really
Senate,
important.
yeah, because like the Senate is, I mean, it's always been pretty much in a way anti-democratic, but like even more so now because no, the founding fathers never pictured there'd be California and New York with like billions of people in them. I mean, not billions, but you know, they have like way more people than Wyoming or Oklahoma. Yet, you know, we get two senators, and then y'all get two senators, and then it makes it impossible for who actually, yeah, and not just legislation to get passed, but like the will of the people is not actually being honored with the actual votes because the Democrats forever will probably always get the popular vote with the Republicans and how they are in their current construction. And the Democrats don't have the majority of Senate seats or whatever, right? Like it's just like it's messed up.
All right, I
But
have
yeah,
like 15 minutes.
okay. I have like one more topic to get to. Um, what do you think about Iran and what's going on with that whole situation?
It died down. Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, they seem to back down. Trump seems to back down. For in a moment, we're in a peace situation. But I mean, the eye of the hurricane's also peaceful.
Yeah. Um, that's about where I'm at with that. I find it odd that people are calling what's his name the general that we killed. People are calling him a terrorist, and
Yes, I was so confused. I was like,
you know it's like he's not a terrorist. He's a general. He was a general for the actual country of Iran. Like he was a terrorist. Like it's not the same thing as like us killing Osama bin Laden or whoever. Like he's not a terrorist, and I
yeah,
don't. Yeah, go ahead.
I saw like I guess it's a meme. But somebody posted it on like their Instagram story, and it was like Ilhan Omar. Somebody did something when it was like she was. I mean, it was like obviously like an out of context. Like,
Yeah, I know the quote. Yeah.
I don't remember the full quote, but I understood what she was saying. Somebody did something, and she was talking about 9/11. I was like, we are outraged, and it was like, what is his name?
Soleimani, I think is how you say it.
Soleimani,
Yeah.
about Soleimani's death, and I was like, yeah, but they're two different things, like very different things. She was, and the quotes are out of context either way. So it's like one was fighting terrorism, the other one was
Hmm.
terrorist. So I don't think you
Yeah.
can.
Yeah, because like he was helping fight ISIS, and regardless of whatever anyone thinks of Iran, like if you actually get down to the history of it all,
It's our fault.
America, yeah, America's has been the aggressor in between us and Iran. Like
It's
that's
like started a long time ago. This was like what 1950s.
yes, when
They were more
we
progressive than us. Did you know that? Like that was insane to me. Like when I read that, this was my like my world history class, and I was like looking at all this stuff. I was like, wow, they're way more modern than we were. They were way more like progressive in general. Like the way that. their society was functioning. And then we
Mhm.
went in, and then like it was a really conservative place after, you know?
Yeah.
And also it's like you see the same thing for Syria. Did you see those things on Twitter like they were comparing like what those women like wear now to what they used to wear, like their like traditional clothing from before. But nobody wants to put the context of like this was before America, this was after America.
Mhm.
But that's what it was. And that was imperialism. This is what I mean. It's like I'm not anti-war, I'm anti-imperialism because we didn't start a war with Iran.
Yeah.
We, it was imperialism that happened.
Mhm. Yep. That's exactly it. Um. Well, thank you for your time here today on the show. Where can we find you on social media?
My Twitter handle is Anahi, Anahix purple. Y'all know how to spell purple? You don't? Google it. Um,
Without knowing
um,
how to spell it, Google it.
I think I gotta spell it
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
P-U-R-P-L-E. I was even thinking about it for a little bit. You know, my Instagram is it's Anahi, three S's. Um, yeah, y'all not getting my Snapchat.
All right.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.